Hello, I am Frin, Le Epic Engineering Borgo, and I'm going to show you guys today how to set up a CO2 SM, which is the Supermatter engine with CO2 running through its cooling loop. So this allows the SM to run without any emitters firing, while also being able to produce a side product of pluxium, which is a gas that you can sell at cargo for 5 credits, or for 5 credits per mole. Yeah? So it's pretty nice. And this is a little pipeline I have going here. The rest is covered by tiles, but I have a little pipeline going all the way to cargo, which means that this gas, the money gas pluxium, is going all the way to cargo, getting them about, well, it might not fill it like the fastest, but it gets about over 10,000 credits per canister. So, like, and that's not even the super cooled canisters. I didn't bother making this efficient enough to, like, cool down canisters, because when they're cooled, you get more moles inside of them, which means, of course, more money per canister. So, the Supermatter engine down here essentially just needs to keep cool. It needs something that, like, causes it to, like, create radiation to power the station. So, as you can see, power is coming out of it because these power storage units are receiving power, right? So, first things first, for the Supermatter, you want to make sure that the cooling loop is always set up before you introduce anything that can get it really started, which means that'll cause it to produce oxygen and plasma, which are its like byproducts when it's sort of activated. It can be activated when something physical gets into the Supermatter, which means that it'll get dusted right away, so it'll kill someone if you touch it, or it'll just destroy an item that you're holding if you touch that to the SM, the Supermatter. Alright? So over here are nitrogen canisters that you want to wrench in, and then you want to turn these on to bring it into the cooling loop. Then you want, well, there would be gas pumps here, but they were replaced out with pipes. You can do that, or you can just leave them as gas pumps that look like, or I guess all the gas pumps were taken out, but there should be gas pumps here that look like that. If you want, you can replace them with pipes, or you can just leave them as is. Either way is fine, okay? So you want to set your vent controls. Now, for the Supermatter, some people like to set it to internal 0, which means you click on this little air alarm, you click on vent controls, and then you click on internal, you get rid of that, and then it's just on 0 there. That is not really going to work for a Supermatter SM, and I prefer just setting it on these settings in the first place anyways. That's because they're super easy to set. You just gotta click on this, click on operating module, and click drop. Just 2 buttons for anybody who doesn't understand all that atmospheric stuff. And this is a good thing because the vents, they are limiting how much stuff can go into the Supermatter, which sometimes can be good, sometimes can be bad. So this essentially keeps it so that it won't be introducing any new gases, venting in any new gases from the cooling loop, just gases going through the Supermatters like vents or pipes around it, into the Supermatter chamber where it is. So all the cooling nitrous and all the CO2 that's cycling through right now won't be able to go through unless the pressure is low enough for it to get in there, okay? So right now it's only letting in about 203, which is like the set that you get when you press on operating module and drop. Alright? So simple as that. Yo yo yo. Then it will go through here, and then it will go to a filter. In this filter you want it to filter out pluxium, or you could have it filter out nothing if you want to be wasteful. But if you filter out pluxium, you get a gas that's worth some money. Isn't that fantastic? So then there would be a vent over here, gas pump I mean, but it was replaced with a thing, pipe. So you can either replace it with a pipe or just remember to turn it on. Same thing with over here, okay? Then it goes down to these little vent things, or not vents, filters. Each filter filters out a specific gas. So this is always preset on nitrogen when you start the round, right? So the nitrogen keeps the Supermatter cool. It's the gas that is supposed to run through the cooling loop, like at the start of, like, it's the main gas that you're supposed to have running for the SM. Other gases are just optional or can actually be dangerous. So pluxium, I have the pluxium running through because the pluxium is created when oxygen, naturally produced by that Supermatter, and the CO2 introduced from a pipe that's over here, this pipe over here, which I'm going to get into later, mixed together with radiation that's created by the Supermatter. So this creates the gas pluxium, which is worth money, right? It also is like oxygen, but like you can breathe it, but it doesn't like catch on fire like regular oxygen does, which is pretty freaking sweet, bro. Alright? So then it goes from Pluxium to CO2 that I have set up over here. Now CO2, it can cause the supermatter to sort of activate where it produces oxygen and plasma, and if no cooling loop is set up, it can frickin' cause the supermatter to explode, which is bad. But if you do have a cooling loop with nitrogen in it, or like, you know, you're feeling a little risky, just plain old CO2, but like, I definitely suggest you have some nitrogen in it at least. You can have the CO2 and nitrogen running through, and it'll be a perfectly safe SM, like it is right now. And it'll be producing radiation, it'll be powering the station, and you won't need to use emitters, which are essentially lasers that you regularly fire into supermatter if you're only using nitrogen gas. And in this, I have nothing filtering in, but you can have oxygen filtering in. I mentioned earlier that oxygen is naturally produced by the supermatter when it's sort of activated. So this gas, oxygen is produced along with the plasma. They both give a power bonus to the supermatter while in the chamber, but they both can cause a fire in the chamber. And fires, they create heat, you know? Heat and pressure. The main thing that causes supermatters to frickin' delam, which is essentially like delamination, they essentially just blow up, they just frickin' destroy engineering, and they cause hallucinations throughout the station if nobody's protected. And it can be a bad time for engineering. So you can have O2 set to go in, but I do not. Because the O2, if it's set in, it'll create more Pluxium, because more gas, like that you're mixing together, so more, this same amount of CO2, but even more oxygen, is going to make more Pluxium, right? But it is also dangerous because sometimes the oxygen can sort of like overtake the carbon dioxide, which is in the CO2, and that shit can fuck things up. It can cause a fire in the supermatter, which makes it super hot, super pressurized, and super explosive. Alright? And over here, where this gray spot is, was where another vent thing was, or another gas pump, sorry. And this goes just straight around through. So, just so that you know, like, basics after explaining that, this essentially cycles through a gas that you wrench in here. It goes in and around these pipes, through the chamber here, and the plasma and oxygen just comes out of the supermatter. It doesn't come from us, but we're filtering it out. So then we go over here, we filter out Pluxium, which is the product of the CO2 that we were putting in, and the oxygen naturally produced by the supermatter. It goes around, it goes into space. Why space? Space is cold. Space cools the gas. It goes back around, and it goes through here. Now over here are some coolers. You don't want to hook up the cooling loop to that unless during certain circumstances when you can't bring it out into space to cool it. Because space is cooler than these coolers can get when they're not upgraded. Okay? And over here are some gases that if you want you can get these into the system by turning this on after you wrench them in. Right now it's not really bringing that much into the system. It's not bringing anything into the system unless I say wrench these down, which I could do like there. Right? So I want to go check out this CO2 over here. So I went over everything that's in the chamber here right now. If you have any questions, bring that up in like the comments below. So it has everything going through. It has the vent setting on operating module, draw or drought, siphons out air while replacing. And if you ever for some reason need a setup like that again, you can just click off and click back on, or click on it just regularly, but I like to click off and click back on just to be sure. It sets these to 203 automatically, and it sets these to siphoning. Well, at normal range you can make these sort of extended range, but it's not necessary unless the SM goes fakakt, goes sicko mode. So I have Pluxium being produced over here, which is the money gas made by the CO2 and oxygen. So I said that the oxygen comes from the supermatter when it's sort of activated. It's being activated because in the vent system that we set up there, by clicking on like the vent stuff, clicking on all the stuff, the pipes, wrenching everything in, we put gas through the system, and in that gas is CO2, which I have flowing into it from atmospherics. Atmospherics is where all the gases come from on the station. So as you can see here, there's nitrogen, there's oxygen, there's regular air, which is a mix of the previous two, there's carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is what we need here. So when you see this in atmospherics, which you'll see if like you're an atmospheric technician or if you are a engineer or the senior or the chief engineer, but at this point, if you're the chief engineer, I think you would know what Atmos is. So CO2, you would turn on here, max that out. So you click on the max button here. Oh wait, crap, I'm lagging. No, stop lagging, game. Fulp station is a little bit popular, so well, even like during sort of low pop hours like I'm on right now, it's a little bit laggy, or at least my internet's a little bit laggy for this. So we have this filter going through here and into this orange tube, this strange orange tube, or pipe, I mean. Do you remember what orange pipe was, do you remember an orange pipe that we saw earlier? If you guessed the one that I pointed out in the Supermatter chamber, you're fucking correct, gamer. Woo! Okay, so this essentially just makes sure that in case that anybody else wants to use these gases that are over here, they can use them, and none of them will get mixed up into our CO2. We only want CO2 from Atmos going into the Supermatter. We don't want any other gases going in. Otherwise, that can cause some problems for us, you know? So this filter over here makes sure that only CO2 can get into our Supermatter. Well, from atmospherics. Otherwise, the other gases that the Supermatter creates, or byproducts from like reactions of the gases, those will have to be filtered out, like, because we can't just stop those from being added in. The oxygen and plasma will keep being produced as long as the Supermatter is creating energy, right? Oh yeah, and just a general like note about the Supermatter, in case you didn't know, on this computer over here, or just an engineering console, or in fact, if you're an engineer and you have a tablet, you can download an app for this, where you can do Supermatter monitoring. This checks everything out on the Supermatter because typically, air alarms are supposed to be able to tell you how the freaking hell, how much freaking of each gas is inside of here. It tells you the pressure, temperature, everything. But this doesn't actually tell you what's in the Supermatter. It just says oxygen and nitrogen. But the Supermatter console actually tells you sort of what is specifically around the Supermatter, like the Supermatter crystal, which, yeah, is this big old boy. So you can see the CO2, that is coming from atmospherics. Nitrogen, that is what we added, or will be, that is what you'll add when you wrench these in and put that through. There is pluxium, which is being created because this O2, which is being created alongside its buddy plasma, which they're both kind of dangerous. Like O2, it's not that dangerous, but you just got to be careful with it. Plasma, it definitely wants to cause some forest fires, but if you want to do a complete plasma Supermatter, that's up to you, man. This is carbon dioxide Supermatter right now. So you have pluxium being created by the mix of the CO2 and a little bit of oxygen that is being created in the chamber, which we are not filtering to go back into the Supermatter because we don't want too much oxygen being created. We want to limit it to how much is being created, like, as it's being made. We don't want to store it anywhere, okay? And we can check out how much energy it's producing with the relative EER on this. We can check out its temperature, and essentially the temperature and pressure will change colors, and even the EER, if you supercharge the Supermatter with CO2, they will, like, turn into, like, they will, like, essentially have orange or red if it's really, like, messed up, for telling you that, hey, this is the problem that's causing the Supermatter to delaminate. This is the integrity. When the Supermatter is delaminating, it'll, like, have a little message for engineering, and it'll bring this little bar down here. Alright? So now, we go over to here. Wait, crap, I forgot what I wanted to show you guys. So, oh, I wanted to go over, like, the vent thing again, just in case anybody is wondering. Back when I said the vent, because some people in the past, like, I already explained this in the beginning, sort of, but, like, just especially with CO2. CO2 going into the Supermatter is not dangerous at all if you do it correctly, right? The dangerous part is when you have a lot of it in the Supermatter. So, like, that can be judged by typically, like, even if it's cooled, it'll typically stay around the same pressure, so kPa, kilopascals. If you keep it at 2 or 3, or some limit, rather than just making it unlimited, So by turning off the external thing, I'm essentially either getting rid of the limit, because I'm pretty sure this gets rid of the limit rather than just minimizing it. It actually does something. It gets rid of a target. So the external target means that's how far it's going to go. If you get rid of that by clicking the thing so that it's minimized like this, it'll not have a target. It'll just keep pushing in. And if something is clogging like the freaking cooling loop, rather than like helping cycle it through, it could just be pushing more CO2 in there, meaning your supermatter will get supercharged and can possibly blow up if you're not careful. Now, I've shown you the cooling loop. I've talked about the CO2, shown where to get that from, shown the monitoring station over there. Now, the last part is talking about how to get extra pluxium production. Pluxium, if you remember, is the gas that is being produced right now because of the CO2 and oxygen. I hope you guys didn't forget about it. So, a way to get more pluxium produced is to cause more radiation. Now, what can I do to cause more radiation? Well, CO2 on its own, when exposed to the supermatter, will cause some radiation within it, right? Or not radiation, but like, it will make it activate sort of, and it'll radiate the area around it, which you can see by these glowing green things around it. The radiation collectors are radiated so they have a green glow on them, which is pretty cool, okay? So, this green glow shows you that a radiation is in the area. Since I'm a robot, I'm not affected by this. But if I were a human, I'd be like freaking screwed if I wasn't wearing anything right now. Whenever you're by the supermatter as a human being, you want to make sure that you open one of these L2 lockers, and you want to put both these green glasses on over on the side here, and this suit, this radiation suit. You want to wear the radiation suit to ensure that you don't freaking die, and you want to wear these green goggles here to make sure that you can sort of like not hallucinate, because the supermatter, when you're by it, it causes hallucinations. Now, these down here are emitters. They need to be connected to a wire in order to fire. When they fire and are directed into the supermatter properly, so like through the little window up there, and the hole here, so I can point to that using my Borg hand, that essentially allows a little way for the beam to go in and fire at the supermatter. It fires at the supermatter, giving a little extra charge, meaning more radiation, meaning more power. Okay? So what we want to do to set up these emitters. Typically, some people will put them like side by side. They'll have multiple of these little reflector things to redirect all the beams into. True gamers know that compact setups are the best setups. So you want to click on a rapid pipe dispenser, or have a rapid pipe dispenser, which you can get in atmospherics, or you just automatically have if you're bored, or you can print it out depending on like using certain devices. Okay? So you want to click on trunk after you click on disposals in the rapid pipe dispenser menu. You want to click there. You want to flip that around. You want to click there. Then you want to whip out a welding tool. Activate that shit. Weld that crap down. Now we're spicy. Okay, after you've done that, you place this here. You whip out this big old boy. And now, this essentially has created a way for us to send these emitters onto this tile here. Because let me show you something if you don't know. If you're not an Epic Space Station 13 veteran, well, I guess if you're not, you probably shouldn't be doing this, but like, you know, these can't really get on the same tile. They won't let me. I'm trying to push it in. It does not go onto the same tile as this one. I move that out of the way. It can go now. So if I were to do this, it goes on the tile, right? And if I were to do this, it goes on the same tile, right? Now, this can be a problem, because if you don't know, emitters need to be clicked on, so you just click on it to activate it, right? But now I can't see the other emitter underneath it. I can hold Alt, and then I need to press the tile. So like the specific tile area, if I accidentally click something that's on the tile, it might not work. You want to Alt-click the tile. And over here, like in the upper corner thing, it'll say plating. And now I just appear in that area as well. Oh wait, whoops. I'm going to turn my lamp down a little bit. Sorry it's so dark in the supermatter room. the lights blew out earlier. So we got these set up together. We can right click over them to see that they're there, but we want to alt click on the tile to see that the emitters are there, right? And we can just do that with all the other epic emitters. We put that in. We put that in. This is going to be 8 emitters going into the Supermatter. Sometimes, depending on what setup you use, it can be a little screwy, and you don't even want more than 3 emitters going towards it. But as long as nothing goes wrong with our cooling loop, the CO2 Supermatter is actually pretty chill with just 8 beams of light going into it. Whoops. So in order to secure an emitter, also you can alt-click on an emitter using this little menu thing here. So if you notice this little menu thing in the top right corner, which has a bunch of emitters listed, you can click on it as if you were clicking on it on the screen. So on the left side, you can click on it as if it were on the actual light place in front of you. So I can click on each one, wrench. So that should be 8 wrenched in. Now you want to weld it because you need to weld it before you can turn it on. So weld. They're all welded in place. Fan-fucking-tastic. We turn on, we want to move this out of the way. I think it still can fire like past that, but just in case. We turn on the emitters. Freaking emitter power. And it blasts itself right up into our Supermatter. So the CO2 that we've been putting into it has been giving the Supermatter like a way to charge, a way to power up the station, a way to create radiation. Wait, fuck. Now I'm kind of pissed. Look at that one. Fucking Emily the C. She forgot to click on that one. Okay, I'm actually still grateful to her oh wait. Fuck yes. Awesome. Borgs can control it from a distance. I'm so fucking happy now. Otherwise, that would have just bothered me this entire time. Now we're getting extra power. Also, shout out to Deadly Operating System, who was a dick one round, and I was an Atmos tech, and they tried to kill me and shit, just because I wanted to set the SM like a cool dude, while it was like exploding, and I was trying to save it, and AI was like, you're lame, you don't know how to set a Supermatter. Fuck you, I know how to set a Supermatter. Also, I'm gonna go gonna check this out right now. Sorry for the rant there. I know it's been a long video, and you just wanted to know, and I'm taking too long. But I just wanna show you the shit again. So you can see that the temperature, it was going orange there for a bit, and it probably will keep fluctuating right now because it's kind of being pushed to a limit. It's having 8 laser beams fired into the Supermatter now. 8 freaking laser beams from the emitters. They are causing the energy, which is the relative ER, to spike up a little bit more, which is a good thing for radiation wise. I think our Pluxium production is slightly up. And I want to show you right now where the Pluxium leads. Where does the Pluxium go? Wait, actually I may have shown it earlier, but that's okay. So we have these vents here. These vents are caused by this thing filtering out, and they are controlled over here in this corner. So you click on this, vent controls, and you'll see numbers with the vents. Whichever vent you put into a glass box over here, so this glass box over here, which originally it had connector ports in it. So connector ports like freaking so. Connector. Then I wrenched that up. I wrenched them up, so like that. I pick them up. Then I put down devices. I put down a scrubber. And I put down a vent. I had the scrubber on layer 3 of pipes, and I had the vent on layer 2 of pipes. And I made this pipeline on layer 3. So, see these 2 new vents that we added? We need, for a vent to work, or a scrubber to work as well, you need a pipe or something just behind it. Any sort of Atmos thing. Oh, whoops. You need to set it on layer 3 for the scrubber there. Now it's connected. Now I can unscrew that, or wrench that up, pick that up. Now I can turn those on. So I just click on here, vent controls, on, and I can edit this number here, so I can just enter a large number, it puts it at the max. Then I click out, I click here, squabble controls, I click and yeah, I can also click extended range or expanded range if I want to do something spicy. And that activated these things that I put down here. You can right click to see like what number, so then like you can know which one you're supposed to activate in the air alarm area. Okay, so I have everything cycling through. The Pluxium, wait. Okay, fuck. I thought for a second I saw fire. There probably was some fire just because the Supermatter's getting spicy. Keep in mind, you want to monitor your Supermatter if you're doing something spicy like this. If you're having a bunch of 8 emitters fire into CO2 Supermatter. If it's just a regular CO2 Supermatter, like cycling through, no emitters going in, or like only 3 emitters, you don't have to pay attention. But this is getting spicy, okay? So you want, you want a pipeline going through here, going up around here. I can whip out my T-ray scanner, and you can see the pipe sort of under the floor tile. It leads through engineering. Now, maps will be different. It might be harder on others, it may be easier on others, but I suggest placing the pipes on layer 3 because like the pipes for like the vents and the scrubbers are going to be on layers 2 and 1. So you don't want to run into any like pipes you don't want. So they lead all the way here, and on the cargo shuttle I have a little port for the thing to be attached. Oh my god, it's coming in a minute. So if you guys want to wait 1 minute, 1 extra minute on this long trek, you guys can see the final result, the final port, the ultimate place, the ultimate destination of our Pluxium. Let me see, did the cargo techs actually sell anything? Oh, nice. So, bounty items received, an update has been sent to all bounty consoles. That was just a bounty that they did. So, plus 12,846.7 credits. Received 1 gas canister. You know what gas that is? Pluxium. That you've just made, hopefully, if you set up the SM correctly. I hope you fucking did it, Vlad, and I hope you had a good time. So remember, be cool out there in space and shit. Oh wait, actually, I'll just do a quick run through so that I can do a TLDR and put that in the description below. I'll tell everyone in the description below about this part, where you guys can comment it if anybody comments on the video. So there's going to be a TLDR at about 28, a timestamp at 28. So essentially, here you go, here's big brain Supermatter. You have the nitrogen going through, it goes through through cool loop. Cool loop is good, cool loop is great. You have emitters in a big old flat stack, they fire through, they go. You have filters over here, it goes nitrogen, Pluxium, and CO2. CO2 goes on right side of fiery things, just so that when you go around to try to fix it in case CO2 causes problems, CO2 is accessible and you don't have to pass through lasers. You just have to remember to go through the right side if you want to fix the CO2. Then it goes through up here, back through, and feeds back into the Supermatter. The Supermatter poops out Pluxium. Pluxium is great and nice and shit. Pluxium is only able to be created because of our fucking epic goddamn CO2 being given to us by this thankful Atmos place. Thank you, Atmos. I give a prayer to Atmosia. Atmosia. Now we go through here, through the halls, we watch as our cyan pipe, cyan for Pluxium frickin' color, goes through the halls, goes onto the shuttle, leads onto this epic baby boy, and we see a port. A beautiful port where you can attach any canister, and you will be able to sell 1 canister at, I think, a little bit below room temperature, if I remember how much it gets cooled by. Wait, I can check that out real quick. Check it out. -13 or -14 closer Celsius. And this thing like fills up pretty fast. You can see the moles if you can read what's coming out on the screen to the right. I hope you guys enjoy. And yeah, that's how to make a CO2 SM in I guess I described that all in 30 minutes. Sorry for taking so long, y'all. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video and the TLDR. Okay, bye.